the is the number one gross selling drug of all time now. It finally passed up to statins.
Wow.
Which also, statins have been out for 30 years, but it just, with all the data that's been hidden and, all the stuff that we can't believe, I mean, it really honestly makes me question my entire pharmacy education. I mean, seriously, it's like, how can you trust anything? It's like, oh, well, statins lower cholesterol and decrease heart attacks. Do they? I don't believe they do. I just don't. I mean,
yeah, no.
Well, the studies say, oh, okay, great study.
Yeah, this has opened up a lot of people's eyes to healthcare. And I don't trust the pharmaceutical companies at all. I don't trust anything related to big business or big hospitals. I know my doctors that I trust now. And a lot of people are leaning over to more like integrative medicine, not just the Western side, because there's too much greed, too much money to be gained. And it's making a lot of people kind of question things, and people are kind of looking into more natural remedies. And I've met so many people now that have either been on that side already or are now like leaning towards it, and they're healthier than they've ever been, and they get off all the pills. Because I mean, half these doctors, all they want to do is, here, take a pill for this. Okay, this happens. Now take another pill. You're on 20 pills, and now your whole body's just so screwed up, basically. But it's okay, because they all make like lots and lots of money off of it.
Yeah, well, there's two treatments basically. It's either medication or surgery, and and I'm not saying that surgery is not necessary sometimes, but we've had Dr. Shawn Baker, who's an orthopedic surgeon. Now he's the founder of the carnivore diet. He was on our podcast a few years back, and this is coming from an orthopedic surgeon. 70% of orthopedic surgeries are unnecessary. If people change their lifestyle, they wouldn't need them. Well, think about this, Jennifer. How many people get a total knee done and they're 100 pounds overweight?
Very true.
I mean, you're wasting. Next thing you know, they get another one done. Well, of course they do. And next thing you know, 2 years later, it doesn't work. Well, not if you're 100 pounds overweight. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You don't need surgery. You need to lose weight.
Yeah, and that's what like half these doctors don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the basic things is, proper nutrition, proper hydration, exercise. I mean, the right kind of diets, you can eliminate a lot of things and prevent things from happening. And I mean, if they all kind of like the transplant teams, right? Like, they're not going to give somebody a new lung if they're a smoker. They're not going to give somebody a liver or whatnot if they're a drinker, right? It's just not going to happen. And that all makes common sense. Like, you get orthopedic surgery, but you're 500 pounds. I mean, obviously, there's an issue right there.
It's not going to be very successful. Yeah. So I think one of the good things about this over the last 3 years, Jennifer, is that the system has been exposed. I mean, I've known it for years as a pharmacist. Some other pharmacists have woke up since then, since the last 3 years. But Jen and I have known it for years. We haven't trusted pharmaceutical companies for years. And you're talking to two pharmacists that don't believe in medication to treat long-term disease.
Yes.
High blood pressure, high cholesterol, reflux, IBS. No. Change your lifestyle, and those things will go away. Diabetes. I do not believe for type 2 diabetes. I do not believe in medication, period. It's a carbohydrate metabolism problem per definition. And if you don't eat carbs, you will not have type 2 diabetes. I mean, so why do you need medication? You don't lack a medication. Your diet is poor. And the hospitals, I've known they've been corrupt for years, and now they're exposed. I mean, they are evil. Profit, nonprofit, public, it doesn't matter. I mean, they are all evil. I mean, any organization that charges 10 times what you can get in the free market, that's evil. And they say they do it for the good of your health. Evil. No.
So it's all evil.
Yeah. So they have been exposed, and that's the good thing about this. So I'm kind of glad that people don't trust hospitals. And yes, unfortunately, we do need them. And for acute care services, I get in a car wreck or I have a heart attack. Please save me. But when it comes to chronic disease, stay away. Please stay away.
No, I 100% agree. Even my mom, who's up in Ohio, that's where I'm from. I've been down here like 20 years. She's calling me all the time because she can't stand her doctor. Her doctor's literally like, "Oh, your blood pressure was high one time. Here's some metoprolol. Oh, your cholesterol's a little high. Here's a statin." And I was like, "No, wait a minute." Right. And then like her creatinine was like 1.2, which is like nothing. It's like just barely like right there. She was gonna.
Let me guess. Let me guess. So is your mom exercise a lot?
She medium. Her problem is she doesn't. And I'm sorry, Mom, if you're watching. But she doesn't.
Right. Well, I mean, the reason I ask about creatinine is because I have like a creatinine of like 1.4. So if I go into a standard doctor that doesn't know me, they'll think I'm going into kidney failure. But let's think about where creatinine comes from. Let's use our brains. You know, we were educated to use our brains, okay? It's not black and white. So, you know, where does creatinine come from? It comes from muscle, okay? So if you've worked out recently, or if you have a person that is bigger, or you have high lean body mass, if you have a lot of muscle, we see it all the time with powerlifters and bodybuilders. They think they're going into, you know, they see a doctor and the creatinine is 1.5. They think they're going to liver, renal failure. It's like, no, you've got a lot of muscle. That's why you have a high creatinine. No big deal.
Yes. Which is
anyway. But yeah. Right. But I'm sure your mom, they gave her an ultrasound. They gave her all these their tests. Right. Exactly. Just money. Right.
Yes. They tried. She was so mad because she wanted to send her to get an ultrasound and do all this and do all that. And I was like, no, stop. And I told her just a few simple things to do. And she was so mad. She's like, well, why didn't my doctor just tell me these simple things? And I was like, because she saw you had good insurance and she could make more money off of you.
Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo.
So
exactly. I've told so many people that's like, why'd they do that? Because they saw what insurance you had. I mean, and if you didn't have the right insurance, they wouldn't have done it.
Oh, no.
Period. I mean, they know that. It's a game, and it's a horrible game. And that is one of the things that I've tried to expose. I've wrote a book about it. It's called Sickened, How the Government Ruined Healthcare and How to Fix It. You will get a copy of my book. In fact, Jennifer, I am going to send you a signed copy. I want to send you a signed copy, not just electronic copy. So you can have that. But it's basically, it's got a fix in this. One of the things that's different about my book is it offers a fix. I mean, all of us complain, or a lot of us complain about the system, but we don't talk about the fix. The fix is to educate and empower individuals to take charge of their own health.
Yes,
period.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that you're doing. So thank you.
Yes. Oh, anytime. My pleasure. And thank you too, because I love doing it now. I go all over Texas. I was just in Fort Worth over the weekend. I go speak at places. I educate. I try to tell them, things that their doctors won't tell them. And if they question, I'll be like, well, and I just fill them full of so much information that it's just pouring out. And even if they don't agree with me, they can't help but stop and think about it, because I mean, I bring up a good point. I'm like, I don't make any money off of this. So obviously I'd be insane if I'm just driving around and doing all this and I'm lying about it, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So maybe stop and listen to these things you're hearing, do a little of your own research, and you'll see that we're not crazy.